For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So it became the Sabbath day as he blessed it. It was the seventh day, now it's the Sabbath day. And he sat back and he looked at everything and he was refreshed. And he got to look at everything. I'm an artist. And I have made several sculptures. I'll pick one out. Let's say Double-Tufted George. I should have had a picture of him. Basically, it's kind of a Dr. Seuss-looking creature. I made it out of a coat hanger, a little piece of wood, some rabbit fur, a sock, a bunch of Sculpey, and some paint. And it's this little llama-looking guy with two little horns coming off the top of his head. And he's got a big horn that's actually a real boar's tusk coming off the front of his nose. He's very cute and kind of fearsome looking. He was that tall. And when I finished him, I put the last little eyelash stroke of paint on him. I sat back, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's very nice. I'm going to take some pictures. And so I took like a little Sabbath with my creation. And in doing that, I recognized, this must have been what God was doing. Except God's creation was way cooler than this little sock and rabbit fur and stuff. But he had humans to look at. He had the structure of the cell. He had dragonflies with 3-foot wingspans. He had by the way, we found fossils with dragonflies with 3-foot wingspan. So it's not a question of if, it's just, it was, and it was cool. You know, imagine it hitting your windshield. You know, thing's cool. Give it a letter, take to my wife. You know, dragonflies. What was I doing? Sabbath. So God took a rest and he looked at all this wonderful, fantastic, awesome stuff and he just enjoyed it. And he said, hey, Adam and Eve, want to hang out? Want to eat some fruit? Tree of life fruit? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. And so they hung out and they talked and they had a good time. That's what the Sabbath is for, guys. Did I finish reading this? Oh. There are a species of animal that God created called the camel. Camel. They have a big hump on their back. The Bactrian camels have 2 humps on their back, like a M walking around. And the camels are very interesting because they can go longer without water than most other creatures. Camels can last for quite some time. On the hottest days in the desert, though, on the very hottest days, they last about a week. And then they need to replenish. And in the Sahara Desert, when you're traveling across the Sahara Desert, this is an actual oasis. There's these oasi. I don't know how they pronounce it. Multiple, plural of oasis. Oases? Oases. So they're about a week apart. And the camels will walk from one to the next. And then they'll spend a whole day, like a camel Sabbath, being refreshed and filling their hump back up with water. And then they're ready to go. Spitting all over everything. And they take off and they go to the next one, and they have another Sabbath, and then, like we do, if you're on a long, hot journey through this life, we need these Sabbaths, folks. We need these Sabbaths. We need today, this is the 7th day of the week, by the way, we need today to spend time with God, to hear interesting things about him, and to really commune with our Creator. This is a pencil. Some people say, the Sabbath, we don't know when it is. I've heard, no, actually Sunday's the 7th day of the week because that's at the end of the week, you know. And I said, no, a weekend is like there's 2 ends and they kind of butt up next to each other. So the end of one and then the beginning of the other. There's 2 weekends and there's 2 ends here on these pencils. So which one would be Saturday, the 7th day, and which would be Sunday, the 1st day? Does that make sense? So there's a lot of controversy happening about this Sabbath situation. And there is an entity that said, I'm going to change that day of worship to Sunday. Now, I would like to appeal to you right now, if you're not. Sorry, that was not a complete sentence. I would like to appeal to you right now. If you are not keeping the Sabbath, and by that I mean discontinuing your work, not working for 24 hours on the 7th day of the week, I would just love to invite you to benefit from actually doing that. changing your life. I don't know if you realize this, but humans were designed with a weekly cycle that they go through. There's different cycles in the human being, but this weekly cycle is a unique one. I don't know if you know this, our nostrils dilate about once an hour. That's why if you have a cold, you can't breathe through this one, then later you can breathe through the other one, because they're changing size and stuff like that. That's a small cycle. There's a monthly cycle for one of our genders. And there's other cycles like, this is my young age, then I'm going through puberty. That's not really a cycle, I guess. That's just a progression. But there's a weekly cycle also where we need to take a break. And that's how we were designed. We were designed to take a break. So please do that. God is devoted to our well-being, folks. True spiritual health is derived from unadulterated communion with Him. You want to hang out with Jesus? Imagine, actually I had a dream. Jesus was going to be coming to my house. And I was like, I gotta clean. Wait, I don't have to clean because He's Jesus. That's so cool. And so Jesus came over, and I said, so, you ever seen that show, Seventh Heaven? And he was like, well, yeah, I know, do you like it? And that was my dream. He sat on humongous mushrooms in the backyard. It's true dream. But I was very excited. The feeling in the dream was just exhilarated. Jesus is here. I'm seeing Him face to face. It was unbelievable, and that's what the Sabbath is for. Sabbath is a distraction-free opportunity to rehydrate ourselves fully with the water of life, Jesus Christ. It is important that we observe the seventh day of the week because it's a memorial of creation, and it always has been. Remember, Jesus said, before the Ten Commandments were around, Jesus said, this day of the week is special. Jesus observed that day of the week. Not observing Sabbath on a Saturday would be kind of like celebrating the New Year on January 2nd each year. It's like missing the mark, kind of. Or if we had like a birthday, and you said, everybody come to my birthday party, and some people showed up the next day, you'd be like, the cake's gone. God marks this commandment with a remember. If you will remember, the manna and the staff also had this remember message. And the Ten Commandments also contains a remember message. Remember, because He foresaw Satan's counterfeit, that's Sunday worship. I'm sorry to be bold if this is freaking you out, but this is the truth, folks. He foresaw Satan's counterfeit taking hold of the world like so many of his other counterfeits. There's a lot of counterfeit stuff out there. If you watch TV, you will buy into the counterfeit of what love is, infatuation. You'll think that that's all about love, but love comes when infatuation starts going away. I'm not saying you don't love each other when you're infatuated too, but as that dies away, generally it's about 2 years. A lot of people, because they think that's what love is, leave their marriages after 2 years. Huge percentage. Because they think that, oh, I'm falling out of love. But they don't know what love is. This is a counterfeit of love. True love is, I'm committed to you forever. I made a vow, and I'm going to keep it. God made that vow way stronger than that when He created the world. Whose authority should we follow? This is a question of authority. God asks us to do something, and He has the authority to do it. He has our best interest in mind. Sometimes it's hard to see that. In Genesis 2:1 it said, thus the heavens and earth were completed in all their vast array. We're going to figure out when exactly the Sabbath starts here. By the seventh day, God had finished the work He had been doing, so that on the seventh day He rested from all His work. And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it He had rested from all the work of creating that He had done. In Isaiah 66:22, in creation, if you see something, I might have a slide about this in a second that I'll read. You see something created, it says, and then there was, it was evening and morning, and it was the second day. When God measures time, He says it's dark and light. This is the day. It starts dark and gets light, and you come out and play, and then the next day starts when it gets dark. And so this is how He created. This is the kind of time that He gave us. Right now, a new day starts at midnight, so it's dark, then it's light, and then it's dark again. And so we kind of made things a little bit more complicated than what God had in mind. In Isaiah 66:20,